There's new and strong evidence that most of the warming observed in the globe over the last 50 years is attributed to human beings' activities. That is the creation of what we call greenhouse gases. Now, these are methane, carbon dioxide, fluorocarbon, which are produced by humans in our different industries. Now, this gas is such that allows radiation, solar radiation, to pass through to the Earth's atmosphere, but absorbs the outgoing infrared radiation. This results in warming within the confines of the atmosphere, such as seen within a greenhouse. Now, scientists have known about these greenhouse effects as far back as 1824, when Joseph Fourier calculated that the Earth would have been colder if it had no atmosphere. This effect is what keeps the Earth's climate habitable. In as far back as 1895, the Swedish chemists discovered that humans can enhance greenhouse effect by making carbon dioxide, one of the gases responsible for the greenhouse gas. He kicked off over 100 years of research that has given us the sophisticated understanding of global warming. Now, the level of greenhouse gases have gone up and down over the Earth's history, but they have been fairly constant for the past few thousand years. The average global temperature stayed fairly constant over time until recently, when gases, which has now enhanced the effects of the warming of the Earth. Now, this diagram shows you what I'm trying to refer to. The sun heats up the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide and methane that we produce goes up there, blocks the heat from going back into space, and this causes temperature change, snowstorm, heat storm, change in rainfall, deforestation, flood, glacier melting, and disease outbreak, as we can see with the emerging diseases we are having. Now, scientists often use the term climate change instead of global warming. This is because as the Earth's average temperature climbs, wind and ocean currents move heat around the globe in ways that can cool some areas, warm others. The changing the amount of rainfall and snowfall. Now, as a result of the overall net global warming, the overall net global warming is not the same throughout the whole region of the world. Climate change results in increase in temperature in some places, increase in rainfall, humidity, probably lack of rainfall, which is classified as drought, and then very considerable amount of floods in some places. Now, this here shows you what I'm trying to explain. Heavy rainfall results in flooding, destruction of houses, and loss of livelihood. Now, this large and rapid climate change affects the atmosphere and ocean circulation. As a result, temperature change of 1.2 to 4 degrees centigrade over the next century will be unprecedented in comparison with the best available records from last several thousand years. Global mean sea level has been rising at an average rate of 1 to 2 millimeters per year over the past 100 years, which is significantly larger than the rate average over the last several thousand of years. The projected increase from 1990 to 2100 is between 0.09 to 0.38 meters, based on which gas scenario used, as well as the many physical uncertainties in combination to sea level rise for a variety of frozen and frozen waterfalls. The difference between the global temperature today and during the Ice Age, about 5 degrees. And these swings happen slowly over hundreds of thousands of years. As a result of the present increase in Earth's temperature due to increase in concentration of greenhouse gases, the remaining ice sheets, such as glaciers and Antarctica, are starting to melt too. The extra water is what you probably see as rising sea levels. Now, this illustration just shows you that the melting of the glaciers results in increase in water level, causing flooding, resulting in destruction of livelihoods. Now, as temperature rises, the climate in the rise in sea level, weather can become more extreme. This may be seen as intense major storm, heat wave, or rain, or late arrival of rain, which may be followed by flooding or longer and drier drought. The change in weather pattern results in enormous challenges for growing crops, change in range and animals can live, and loss of water supply, as observed in the disappearing of the glaciers. Now, the rapid rise in greenhouse is a problem because it changes the climate faster than living things may be able to adapt. A new and more unpredictable climate poses unique challenges to all life. A fight that can't wait. Climate change is happening right now, and the world is losing its biodiversity very fast. Now, what is biodiversity? This is the rich variety of life forms in nature. That is the countless plants, insects, animal forms, fungi, to mention a few. You see the plants, elephants, insects here, all contribute to what make up biodiversity. Here in Nigeria, it should be expected that the Sahara Desert will move further south, increasing the threat of desertification in northern Nigeria. This will further complicated due to direct human activities such as overgrazing, deforestation, overcultivation in arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid areas, resulting in the development of patches. Now, you can see in the photograph, this place has been cleared for agriculture. All the natural growth removed. These are some of the things that contribute to the loss of biodiversity. And then you see the cattle rearers, they are looking for green pasture for their animals. So they move around, further complicating the issue of biodiversity loss. Now, why is biodiversity important? All living things are part of an ecosystem and play an important role in maintaining life on Earth. Now, all animals and plants are important because each species forms part of a natural biological life cycle on which life depends. Biodiversity is closely linked with the issue of climate change, as many of the anticipated health risks of climate change are associated with changes in biodiversity, e.g. changes in population and distribution of disease vectors, scarcity of water, impact on agricultural biodiversity and food resources. Now, this cannot be overemphasized. We've seen the emergence of some diseases recently. We had SARS, Ebola is there, and COVID-19 is right on our doorstep. So these are some of the effects of biodiversity loss and climate change. Now, high biodiversity controls the spread of certain diseases. Higher biodiversity controls the spread of certain diseases. As pathogens, we need to adapt to infect different species. Biodiversity provides food for humans, although about 80% of our food supply come from just 20 kinds of plants. Human utilizes 40,000 species of plants and animals a day. Many people around the world depend on these species for their food, shelter, and food. Now, biodiversity supports a number of natural ecosystem processes and services. Some ecosystem services that benefit society are air quality, climate, both global and local CO2 sequestration, prevention of erosion, pollution, recycling nutrients, water purification, and providing fertile soil. All this human beings cannot do on their own without a rich biodiversity. So with biodiversity loss, we have reduction in all these services. So poor air quality, where CO2 sequestration will be a problem. We have uncontrolled erosion, and some of the nutrients required by crops will be lacking. Now, biodiversity provides many ecosystem services that are often not readily visible. It plays a part in regulating the chemistry of our atmosphere and water supply. Experiments with controlled environment have shown that humans cannot easily build ecosystems to support human needs. For example, insect pollination cannot be mimicked by made constructions. And the activity alone represents tens of billions of dollars costs in ecosystem service per annum to humankind. So that shows you how important even just the ordinary bee is, insect, to our existence and our biodiversity. Many people derive value from biodiversity through leisures, activities such as hiking, bird watching. And biodiversity has inspired musicians, painters, sculptors, and writers. We have the Asharawa International that mimic the dancing steps, which their dancing steps mimics the movement of the klipspringer, referred to as Gadanduse in Hausa. So without that animal, that inspiration will have been lost. Popular activities such as gardening, caring for aquarium, collecting butterflies, and are all strongly dependent on biodiversity. The number of species involved in such pursuit is in the tens of thousands. Through the greater majority do not enter, the greater majority do not enter mainstream commercializing. Now, philosophically, it could be argued that biodiversity has intrinsic aesthetic and spiritual values to mankind in and of itself. Now, you have situations where people are advised to leave congested urban areas, to go to rural areas where you have nature at their beck and call to recover from certain ailments. It tells you that just being in an environment with diverse biodiversity has a lot of healing effect on humans. Now, the stability of ecosystem is related to biodiversity, with high biodiversity producing greater stability over time, hence reducing the chances that ecosystem service will be disrupted as a result of disturbance, such as extreme weather events or human exploitation. Now, we've seen what happened with the tsunami. The mangroves were gone, so tsunami easily comes inland and sweeps away our already established cities. So that has, just as a result of destruction of mangrove, which is stabilizing the coastlines. Now you see the way we are taking down trees. By the time the rainy season comes, the wind velocity is so high that it takes off our rooftops. And then our wives and children have to go far distance to get wood, fuel wood now, because we've taken down all the ones in the locality. Now, but the predicted 1.3 degree rise by 2025 will see tens of thousands of millions going hungry due to falling agricultural yield in the developed world. and rising global food prices. This will not be connected with the resulting unstable ecosystem resulting from biodiversity loss. The warmer, wetter weather will see malaria, which is currently killing up to 3 million people a year, spread to new territories. Now, we have a situation where some particular mosquito species have now been discovered on the plateau, which were not here before because of the cold situation. But the change in climate has allowed them access on the plateau, which will result in spread of some of the diseases carried by such mosquito vectors. Over the past 35 years, storms of the force of Hurricane Katrina has almost doubled. Bangladesh will experience 15% more rainfall by 2030, putting 20% more of its land at risk. The photograph shown here is Tinkan Island in Lagos. So by such a time, the whole of Tinkan Island will be underwater. Millions in Asia and South America depend on melting ice and glacier for water. As a result of rising temperature, they are vanishing. Since 1995, more than 90% of the glaciers have been in situ. It is expected that Africa's last remaining tropical glacier on Kenya's Mount Kilimanjaro will vanish in the near future. In conclusion, leadership and political will is key to the stage for engaging in the implementation of climate change mitigation policies, which will enhance economic development. This will need to be accompanied by strong institutions, governance, and capacity to deliver. Underpinning this will require partnership across all levels of government in the country, regions, and internationally. New ways of doing business, mindset change will be needed to address the scale of the challenges, many of which go beyond the borders of countries to regions. Now, this is already in play from what we are experiencing with the coronavirus outbreak. People are thinking differently. The way we govern countries is changing. Border closures, and very soon, if something is not done to mitigate the spread of the virus, we see a situation where everybody will have to carry a pass to indicate that it's not coronavirus free, which is telling you that we have to change the way we do things. Gatherings are now restricted. The way of delivering lectures in universities. So yes, things are changing, all as a result of climate change and biodiversity loss. Thank you very much. And this is where we end this presentation.